The theme of the Sagarmatha Sambad this year is Climate Change, Mountains and the Future of Humanity. As a country of fragile mountain ecosystems, Nepal is already facing the full force of climate change. The absence of honest dialogue and concerted global actions not only puts our environment at heightened risk, but also greatly imperils the future of humanity itself. So that's why I'm doubly pleased to learn about the program which has been going on for almost a decade on these very issues, and the fact that through this program we are not only promoting a gender responsive budget, but also a climate budget, because I think these two variables is what is determining the lives of millions of people, not only in Nepal, but all over the world now. We aim to contribute meaningfully to the global climate discourse by facilitating dialogue among all stakeholders, and inputs such as the one that will be provided from this 10-year-old long project will really help us to be not only stuck on theory, but also to look at the practical outcomes of what is happening. The Sagarmatha Sambad will bring together policymakers, practitioners, academia, the media, and civil society from around the world to discuss the issue of climate change with a special focus on the mountain regions. We hope that the dialogue, which is being hosted in a country that is among the most acutely affected by climate change, will strongly resonate with the theme and act as a catalyst for meaningful global climate action. I'm pleased to note that this workshop, being organized as a precursor to the Sagarmatha Sambad, stands as a testament to the strong and fruitful collaboration between the Government of Nepal and APDC. Nepal is a founding member of the Asian Disaster Preparedness Center and has been actively supporting its work on disaster risk reduction, disaster preparedness, risk management, and climate adaptation. And I'm very happy to share with, I'm sure many of you in this audience know, that Nepal has also evolved many of its own programs. I was happy to see when we were organizing the support for the Myanmar earthquake, that Nepal Army has constructed not only at the Tribhuvan International Airport, but in many airports around Nepal, infrastructure from where disaster, the donations or all the goods that come during disasters can be sorted out and distributed in a very organized and logical manner. And there are other such emergency outlets, especially related to health, that Nepal Army and all the security as well as the health professionals involved in this sector have designed, and some of that also went to Myanmar. So I'm happy to share that Nepal has been seriously working on the issue of disaster preparedness and management, and we have been sharing not only our theory, but also sharing it practically when disasters happen in other parts of the world. But I would also like to commend the Center's focus on policy support, technology-driven solutions, and multi-stakeholder collaborations to build resilience and enhance preparedness capabilities. I'm pleased to note that ADPC is currently implementing Asian Preparedness Partnership Program and Climate Adaptation and Resilience Care for South Asia through its projects in Nepal and other countries. We hope that ADPC's programs and activities will continue to enhance disaster and climate resilience by driving innovation, fostering regional cooperation, and promoting community-based approaches to disaster mitigation and disaster risk management. Distinguished guests and participants, disaster risk management faces rising challenges as the impacts of climate change become more severe in the fragile ecosystems of mountainous regions. As a mountainous country with high disaster risk vulnerability, Nepal faces a stark predicament. The snows of the Himalayas, which not only serves as a vital reservoir of water for hundreds of millions of people, but also as a natural climate stabilizer, is melting at an alarming rate, and posing serious threats to livelihoods across countries. In recent years, Nepal has faced severe climate-induced natural disasters driven by rising temperatures, erratic rainfall patterns, and the melting of glaciers. Glacial lake outbursts and floods have caused large-scale destruction and damage, and droughts, water scarcity, and forest fires have brought untold suffering to the people across the country. Sadly, the cascading impacts of global warming and climate change far exceed our capacity and resources to manage them. That's why a workshop such as this is especially important. I think it brings to home the point that we need additional financing for the issues raised by this kind of crises, as was referred to by the Honorable Vice Chair of the National Planning Commission of Nepal. We Nepalese contribute to the health of the planet through our rivers, forests, and mountains, but instead face a heavy and disproportionate burden of climate change not of our making. The unprecedented scale of the climate risk underscores the need for immediate and sustained action from the international community and concomitant remedial action. Therefore, Nepal calls for climate justice for climate vulnerable countries like Nepal and for the low-lying island countries which are also facing an existential threat. And because such grave unfairness has to be corrected, and the time is already late, we have to start from today. The anomalous situation should be corrected urgently. Today's workshop, I believe, covers important agenda items, particularly on agriculture and policy, planning and finance sectors in the context of disaster preparedness and disaster management. Nepal's agricultural sector is highly climate sensitive as it relies heavily on seasonal rainfall patterns. Climate-induced disasters such as floods and erratic rainfalls directly affect crop yields, food systems, and rural livelihoods, among others. For countries like Nepal, it is imperative that agriculture be fully integrated and embedded into disaster preparedness and the climate resilience strategies. Sectoral insights, particularly from agriculture, must be fully incorporated into national policy and comprehensive planning frameworks. Financing sources and modalities should constitute as an integral and inbuilt component of these frameworks. Nepal's Disaster Risk Reduction and Management Act establishes a legal foundation for multi-tiered disaster governance system in alignment with Nepal's federal system. And I'm very happy to note that Mr. Bhatta is here. And for a while, we were in a sort of a flux, but once he has come on board, Nepal has been going full stream ahead with recovery of the earthquakes and also looking at other disasters. We should put in place effective governance structures to implement it effectively, and we are doing our best to do that, and fine-tune its provisions on the basis of experiences in implementing it. Workshops such as these help take that process forward, and I hope the findings are widely disseminated through all the structures of Nepal's government, as well as in all the other partnering countries. The challenge for us in the days ahead is to ensure that there is ample inbuilt competence in our systems and structures to foresee the risks and threats of natural disasters, as well as the capability to swiftly spring into action when disaster occurs, especially when disaster induced by climate change become more severe and more unpredictable. And I would also like to reiterate that women and children, who are mostly the only people in many of our rural municipalities now, find it very difficult to respond with the same swiftness as maybe men could respond. Because we have not, it's not that we are less abled, it's because we have not been trained. And in my tenure as regional councillor of IUCN, we did a lot of work on disaster and women. And one of the things that we learned that women are never taught to climb trees, to swim in rivers, and even our very garments impede us. And that's why a lot of women fall victim during disasters. So I think training women to become disaster responsive and also training them how to be safe is some of the things that I hope will go forward in the days to come. And I hope today's discussion will dwell adequately on all these themes and come up with concrete ideas and recommendations for the future. I wish today's workshop all success, and I hope to see some of you at the Sagarmatha Sambad. And I hope the thoughts that are discussed today will be put forward in our national policies, plans, and actions. I thank you all.